As you learn about the narcissistic pattern, it's also wise to reflect on the much healthier alternatives. Now, below you're going to find a link to my new extensive course called Ready, Set, Connect. It addresses both the mindset and the skills involved in gratifying relationships, and I hope you'll find it to be quite therapeutic. I remember way back when I was in graduate school as a therapist in training. When I say way back, I mean way back. A professor was talking during a lecture, and he just made an off-the-cuff comment that said something to the effect of how necessary and important it is to establish an atmosphere of freedom so that when someone came into my office, they felt that they had the freedom to be who they were. And I don't know what he said the rest of the lecture because there was just something about what he said and the timing that he said it that made me think, I've had so many circumstances where I did not have that own experience in my life. Feeling like I had to measure up to what the agenda said or take into context the fact that the other person might get mad or might have a particular agenda for me. Freedom, huh? And over time, as I began pondering that word freedom, it's like this is a hallmark. This is something that's essential for any kind of healthy personality and a healthy relationship. Now, when narcissists come along with their entitlement and their selfishness and their need for control, you'll find out they like the concept of freedom for themselves. But they don't really want you to have it, so they kind of have this motto, freedom for me and not for you, and they have a gross misunderstanding about what freedom really means. They want to have all their privileges, they just don't want you to have yours, which means it's not really freedom at all. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to talk with you about some of the core elements of freedom that narcissists simply do not get. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about where they're coming from instead. And as I identify these, I'm hoping that you can think, if the narcissist doesn't get what freedom is, I do. And I'm going to live into it regardless of what they might think or say or prefer. Let's look at that. When we talk about having a sense of freedom in our lives, at least in a relationship, for me first and foremost, it means that we know that we're in a safe space. You're in the presence of other individuals, and in the relationship, there's this big collective, this sigh of relief. I get to be me. I'm safe. I don't have to measure every single word that I say here. In freedom, you feel known. You feel understood. That's what happens inside the atmosphere of relationship when that ingredient is present. With freedom, you realize that you have the permission to build upon your own unique skills and interests. What do you think? What would you like to do? Where would you like to go? With freedom, you live with an understanding and an appreciation for fairness and civility. It's like, I want to have fairness and civility, and I know you do as well. Let's go into that kind of space. We don't have to worry about getting slapped down or judged. In freedom, you have the permission to make mistakes. I want you to think, how many times have you been in the presence of that person you think, if I make a mistake or I blunder, it's going to be curtains for me? Guess what? Making mistakes is part of the growth process, and in healthy relationships, it's like, we have room for that here. In freedom, you recognize that you can have shifts in your own beliefs or your own priorities as the years go by. Sometimes people think, okay, here are the certain things you have to do, and do not waver from this, and you're going to be a good person. Free people think, for example, in your 50s, you think differently than maybe you did in your 40s or 30s or 20s. I can grow and I can evolve and I can change, and that's okay. I have permission to be that kind of person. In freedom, morality and ethics are respected, but they're not demanded. And this is something that narcissists don't really understand at all. They don't like this. They want to mandate your morality. They want to mandate your ethics. Here's how you'd better be, to the extent that it's like, well, what if I don't want to do that? And it can actually create a rebellious attitude. We want to have a sense of goodness and decency, but we want it to be done or approached with a mindset that says, this is something I want to choose. This is something I actually prefer. In addition, by the way, Gus has the freedom to roam around. He's a little restless today. In freedom, love and honor are primary motivators, not guilt or shame or heavy obligation that has to be unquestioned. You want to say, no, I want to go into that space because it just simply makes sense to me. In a relationship with freedom, anger is allowed. Now, some of you think, well, I've been exposed to so much ugly anger. I don't like that one. Well, anger is allowed because we all feel it. Healthy individuals, though, when they approach anger, will do so in such a way that doesn't shut down the other person. In other words, you can narcissists will come at you with anger in such a way that it's just part of their dominant scheme. Healthy people say, yeah, we're free to feel angry. Well, let's do so in a way where we can walk away with our dignity intact and respect still maintained for one another. How about that? Novel idea. With freedom, you appreciate things like context and nuance and a person's backstory. Rather than saying, I've got to fit everybody inside a groove, it's like, hey, I want to know those things about you. We have a feeling of freedom when that mindset is present. With freedom, you might decide that consequences are necessary. And what I mean by that is you don't want to just support and enable lousy behavior from other individuals. And so you can still put consequences in place. But even as you do, it's not for punitive reasons. It's more for learning and teaching reasons. Now, the other person may not see it that way, but that can be your goal and your desire. So you can still have boundaries and you can still have stipulations that you maintain, but they're for healthy reasons. In addition, freedom allows the space for you to ponder what you believe and why you believe. It's okay to say, I'm not sure about this, or this doesn't make sense, or the age-old teachings that I've been given right now, I'm just not quite certain about that. And you know that when you say those kind of things, the other person can say, you know, in here we have room for doubt and we have room for questions. We have room for curiosity. Let's see if we can make that work. With freedom, you can still appreciate self-restraint. I can scream and shout and kick people in the shins all I want. And I'm thinking, no, that doesn't work. I don't want to be that kind of a person. In other words, you don't want to just force people into your mold. You can restrain yourself when things aren't exactly what you want. So, in summary, we can say that a narcissist's attitude towards freedom is, hey, it's all about me and it's all for me. On Team Healthy, the attitude about freedom is, it's about choice in the context of us. Let's see if we can still have a sense of community in the way that we engage. Now, when narcissists approach their attitude towards freedom and it's all about me, they reveal certain attitudes. Okay, is that a nice way to put it? When the narcissist says, well, I want to be free, I don't care about you, what they're basically saying is, I trust only me and I refuse to have any trust whatsoever toward you. In their attitude, narcissists think, I hold myself in highest regard, I couldn't care less about you. In the narcissist approach towards freedom, they think, well, there's no room in my world for complexity, so conform to me. Somehow that translates to freedom in their mind. Or as the narcissists approach freedom, they do so with a competitive mindset. They're thinking, yeah, you know what? In life, there's winners and there's losers, and guess which one you're going to be, and guess which one I get to be. And so they think in that kind of way. Narcissists, as they approach the mind of freedom, actually what they're revealing is, I feel inept in knowing how to manage differences. Now, they're not going to say that, but basically, I need you to prop me up when differences come along. I don't know what to do when that shows up. Or a narcissist, as they approach freedom, they think, if I allow you to have the same privileges as me, I might become irrelevant. I can't allow that to happen. So I get to be free, and I don't think you need to do the same in reverse. To a narcissist, freedom is just a little more than a mirage. They have such a strong need to dominate and to overwhelm and to overpower that basically their attitude towards freedom is not freedom whatsoever. I choose, you don't. That's not freedom. At its base, freedom is, in fact, the privilege to choose, and the narcissist doesn't want you to know that. But when the narcissist persists in trying to dominate and control and invalidate you, sometimes the ultimate freedom can be removing yourself from the person who disallows you to be you. It's like, I'm going to be over there. You get to be your fine free self over here. I'm going to be me. I hope that videos such as this give you some good things to ponder. If you haven't already hit the subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so. I consider it a privilege when you allow me to be on your journey with you, and I'm wanting you to understand some of the negativity so that you can go into the much positive, more positive alternative. Now, when you're around people like what we're discussing here today, I know there are times when you think, I could use some therapy. I could use somebody that could help me sift this out. I've been sponsored for years by the people at betterhelp.com. There's a link below that will take you to their website. It's an online therapy resource. They have a whole team of licensed professional therapists, and you can choose from their team. And it can be so helpful for somebody to say what that therapist said to me way back in my graduate school days. I want you to have the freedom to be who you are when you're in my presence. Let's sift this out. Get the help that you need if that's something that would be warranted. In addition, in my retirement, in my semi-retirement, away from my practice, I've been putting together courses and webinars. The courses have at least 25 teaching videos, and each video has handouts that go along with it, along with guided questions. We have the courses like anger games, how to stay out of the games that narcissists want to pull you into. This is me, about establishing boundaries. Free to be, finding yourself despite those controllers. Ready, set, connect, about healthy connections. I mentioned webinars. We have 90-minute presentations. You can find them either beneath the video or on our website and have access to all of that. In addition, on my website, we have access to my podcast, plenty of articles, my books, etc. So avail yourself to all of that. Isn't it nice when you know that you can be in the presence of someone that says, when I'm in your world, you get to be who you are. You're free. And I'm hoping that's something you can claim for yourself, and I hope it's something that you will try to convey to other individuals. When the narcissist comes along and says, let me tell you what my attitude about freedom is, it's like, okay, go over there into that far corner, talk all you want. I'm over here and I'm going to be free from that. I want you to have the privilege to be and choose who you'll be. And in doing so, I'm hoping also that you'll find steadiness and decency and good ethics. And ultimately, you'll become a person of peace.